Hey everybody, it's Manny and Spencer from Constructor. That was weird. Manny and Spencer.
Manny and Spencer. I'm me, you're you.
Yeah, that's a factual statement.
All right.
We're here with another deck tech on the Constructor Criticism YouTube channel. This week, we're going to be doing green-red ramp. This is a deck that I did well at PPTQ. It was a small PPTQ. Well, I guess it's big for other places. It's small for us.
Sure, it was probably like 20-something.
It was 22 people.
22 people. And you made it to the finals.
Yeah, I made it to the finals, lost to co-host Michael Hinderrocker. And so, Manny, you like this deck a lot.
I do, yeah. I think it kind of called to both of us the very first time that we saw a green-red ramp list like this that was interactive and fun to play and also very powerful.
So, some people ask me, like, why green-red ramp? And the answer to that is, I actually just want to play the best Chandra deck. I think Chandra is just, like, the card in Standard that I want to play.
That card is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Oftentimes things will speak to me, whether it's Sark and Unbroken, Chandra,
Sure.
Primeval Titan, and I just want to play the best deck for those cards.
Gotcha.
And this Standard format, it's really been Chandra that I just, man, that card is fun to play with.
It is so fun, yeah.
So
you can take over games.
Yeah. So I tried a lot of different. I tried Rug, Jund, Grixis, all of the mid-range variants, and none of them were very good. But this deck took the cake. This deck did exactly what I wanted it to do. And the thing that we'll notice right off the bat as we go through the deck list, we're going to just start right here with 4 Chandra.
Yes.
Lots of decks playing 2, lots of decks playing 3.
I think that's wrong.
I am not playing around here.
Yeah, I mean,
I want to draw the second one every game.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Chandra doesn't always stick on the battlefield, and when it doesn't, you absolutely need to have a second one.
Sometimes you got a -4 this thing. Sometimes it just acts as a 6-mana wrath.
Yeah, and I mean, you can definitely get 3 and 4 for ones, no problem with her.
Yeah, so Chandra, 4 of those. 1 Hedron Archive, 4 Deathcap Cultivator, 2 Dragonlord Atarka, 2 Hangarback Walker, 4 Sylvan Advocate, 1 Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, 4 Worldbreaker, 3 Oath of Nissa, the spells, 4 Explosive Vegetation, 4 Nissa's Pilgrimage, 2 Roast, 25 lands with 4 Cinder Glade, 7 Forest, 4 Game Trail, 2 Mountain, 4 Sanctum of Ugin, and 4 Shrine of the Forsaken Gods. Man, this deck took a lot of tuning. This deck is probably very different than the other green-red decks that people are playing.
It's definitely got a little more action in it.
It's doing some different stuff.
It's
one of the things you'll see here is no big Eldrazi outside of the one Ulamog.
Right, yeah. And I mean, it seems like a hybrid between mid-range and your giant green-red ramp strategy.
It is. It's a green-red ramp deck, but like it's not an Ulamog Kozilek deck. It's not even an Ugin deck. Like if Ugin was in the format, this deck maybe it plays 1 just because it has the Sanctum of Ugins, but
sure.
Oh, this can't even grab it.
No.
This deck probably just wouldn't play Ugin.
Yeah, I don't think it would.
Yeah, so there's a few cards that are interesting, but the main thing that we want to talk about is Hedron Archive. A lot of people tell me to cut this card, not doing it. The thing is that in this deck, you can go Deathcap Cultivator into either Hedron Archive or Explosive Vegetation into one of your 7-drops, being Worldbreaker or Dragonlord Atarka. And originally, the list actually had 3 Dragonlord Atarkas.
Oh, wow.
And only 3 Sylvan Advocates.
Gotcha.
So that's something that changed very late in testing.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't know that I'm okay with. I still wish that I could have the 3rd Dragonlord Atarka. Huh. There's just not room. If I was going to play it, I would be cutting Hangarback Walkers for another roast in Dragonlord Atarka.
Okay, gotcha. I like the Hangarbacks quite a bit. I like that they synergize with the delirium of Deathcap Cultivator. I think that's
they do, and really they turn on your Sanctum of Ugin in case you haven't drawn something like a Worldbreaker yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they do a lot of things. The Hangarback Walker, and we'll get to that during the sideboard. But there's a lot of things going on there. The best creature in the deck, it's Worldbreaker. So for those who know, it's 6 and a green for a 5/7 creature Eldrazi. It's devoid. When you cast it, exile target artifact, enchantment, or land. It has reach, and it also has this ability that's 2 and a colorless, sacrifice a land, and return it to your hand.
So it definitely has enough words on it to see play.
Yeah, that's an episode of the podcast that we're going to do.
Sure.
We're gonna do. We'll get into that during the podcast meeting this week, but definitely an episode of the podcast we're gonna do. But this card is people are like, oh, it's bad now because of Declaration in Stone. You can't play this card. That's not true.
That's not true at all.
First of all, you can turn off their white pretty easily.
Right.
Second of all, like, this thing blocks the freaking heck out of Avacyn.
Right. Yeah. It has reach, which is super important right now. And another thing that it does is its exile on cast trigger. And that's so big for getting rid of always watching, disrupting your opponent's lands, doing a lot of things like that.
I killed 2 always watchings on Saturday with this card.
Yeah, you just get so much value with it. It's a very versatile card. It's very good. And
which is crazy, because when I saw this card, everybody was talking about it, and I was like, I don't even think it's that good. Now I'm playing 4 of it.
Right.
Clearly, my evaluation of cards is not always the best.
Sure. And the other thing that I really like is that because it is devoid, one of the other better removal spells in the format, Ultimate Price, it can't target it, which is really very nice.
It's true. It cannot kill this card. The other thing, obviously, is it turns on your Sanctum of Ugin, which lets you grab things like Ulamog or sometimes Hangarback Walker. I did do that once. No, I did. I was not close to 10 mana.
Sure.
Okay. I knew that I wouldn't have 7 the next turn, so I grabbed the Hangarback Walker with my Sanctum of Ugin.
Casting a Hangarback for,
or with a 2/2.
Or with 6 mana even is still very good.
It's a 3/3 even. Yeah. Yep. What's the best spell in this deck?
I would say Explosive Vegetation, probably.
It's Explosive Vegetation. Man, it's so funny. This is one card when it came out. Gabriel Nassif from Channel Fireball Pantheon. He was like playing these Dragonlord Atarka, Explosive Vegetation, Naya decks, and I'm like, man, dude, like, you're wasting your time. And I think he was. But I think that at this point in the format, there are so many mid-range decks that just can't beat an Explosive Vegetation.
No, it feels bad from the other side when your opponent goes from, turn 4.
From 4 to 7 mana on the following turn.
Yes. You just, the world is theirs. They just have to draw a card.
Yeah. And that is exactly what happened. I kept 2 hands, or 4 hands actually, in the PPDQ where my first spell of the game was Explosive Vegetation. I won every single one of those games against Black-White midrange. These Sworn decks just, like, don't put enough pressure on you. You're just, like, they play something and you go, all right, Explosive Vegetation. They're like, oh, crap.
Yeah.
And it's a big deal. It's a big game.
Mm-hmm.
Very different than the style of ramp I like to play. I like Rampant Growths, Farseek, Solemn Simulacrum, and this card is different. I have played Ranger's Path decks. So I have played, like, the 5-color control deck with Farseek Ranger's Path to, like, unlock your Sphinx's Revelations and your Rakdos' Returns and your Door to Nothingness, the Allion Fuzzy deck. I have played that deck. It's actually one of my favorite decks of all time.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, this is a very different iteration of
this
take on Green Red Ramp.
This is different because, first of all, Explosive Vegetation grabs you your 2 mountains in your deck for Chandra.
Right.
So, like, if you're one thing short, Explosive Vegetation and Oath of Nissa, Explosive and Oath, they act as mana fixing because you're playing 8 colorless lands and you're only playing 10 red sources and you have 4 of a double red spell in your deck. Do you know how many times I couldn't cast Chandra, though?
How many?
Never.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like...
Because it's really like...
Between Oath...
17 red sources?
Yeah, between Oath and Explosive Vegetation, you're not going to have any problems casting your double red spell.
Yeah. So, pretty great. Like,
it is. And to back you up on the Hedron Archive, I actually like the one of... because especially after you're done using it for mana purposes, it draws you 2 cards, which is very, very
and
helpful.
You can play it and activate it instantly to draw a card off of the clue or play a Hangarback Walker.
Yeah, it's a great card. I like it a lot.
Yeah, a huge fan of the Hedron Archive. So, we have some interesting card choices, and the one we want to get to is actually Hangarback Walker.
Let's do.
So, with things in the format like Declaration Stone, people are like, oh, you can't play Hangarback Walker. And the thing is like, if they're spending 2 mana to kill the 2 mana that I spent to play Hangarback Walker and I get Clue out of it that early in the game, and they're not advancing their board state, Hangarback Walker did his job.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, if you're using mana that would go untapped and unused throughout your match, it's not like you're really losing it at all.
Yeah. Hangarback Walker is a card that you sideboard out in almost every matchup right now. But that's okay to have in your deck. People think that, like, if you're sideboarding a card in every matchup, that's terrible. That's not always true.
Yeah, I don't believe that that's true.
It could be that you need this kind of pivoting card, this kind of, multifaceted card in the format, and that's kind of what Hangarback Walker does. I have gotten some feedback, and that I'm going to test out with things like Elvish Visionary, but right now Hangarback Walker just does it all for me, and I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, if you look at Blue-White Humans, you're sideboarding almost every single game, too. Once your opponent knows you're on that deck, then you have to play differently just because of that.
Yeah. So, for that reason, Hangarback Walker is interesting because it is a card that comes out in almost every matchup, but I think it's a pretty important Game 1 card because it acts as a 2-drop, it acts as a 6-drop, it acts as an 8-drop. It does what this deck wants to do Game 1 by turning on your Sanctums and things like that. So,
well, and you would much rather have your Hangarback Declaration in Stone than your Dragonlord Atarka.
That is the other thing that I said about it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Other interesting things that we have here. One that even you found interesting is one of Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger.
I did. I think, that's a personal choice that you've made, and it's worked out well for you. I would be comfortable probably doubling up. I like to double up on everything. I almost never play one-ups just because I never know, if something's going to get transgressed or something like that.
But the thing is like, do you need the second one to win?
If you don't have access to the first one.
But if you... So the situation when you don't have access to the first one is a situation in which, like, you already have a World Breaker in play.
Sure, yeah. I don't think you absolutely need the second one when most games are carried on the back of World Breaker and Dragonlord Atarka. I mean, when your opponent plays Dragonlord Atarka...
I almost played 0.
Oh, wow.
I almost did, but it did win me a lot of games. I think the one of is pretty great.
Yeah, I mean...
but Dragonlord Atarka and World Breaker just put in so much work that,
sure.
Sometimes, like, you're just not going to get to 10 mana and you'd rather just have more Dragonlord Atarkas.
Sure.
Because this deck is not... It's not the same as the old deck. It's not trying to, like... This is a Chandra deck.
Right.
This is a deck that has Chandras, where, you're protecting your Chandras with Advocates and Hangarback Walkers, and, you're killing your own Deathcap Cultivators with your Chandras. Like,
right.
You're, like... This is a very different deck, but I think that the one of Ulamog is something that people might be like, only one, but it's like, yeah, you don't.
How many nuclear weapons do you really need?
Yeah, you don't need. Oh, yeah, that's the truth. That's exactly right. You only need one for each opponent, and there's only one in a match of Magic.
Right.
So, huge fan of the one of. It won me a lot of games. Oftentimes, you can just cast it, turn off a color, and that wins you the game by itself.
Yeah. Of course, everybody knows, but I'll refresh your memory in case you forgot. When you cast Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, exile 2 target permanents. So you can do lands, artifacts, enchantments, literally any permanent card in the game, which is so powerful.
Yeah, you have to remember that there are things like English in Making now and Declaration in Stone, so it's not as hard to kill as the other one, and that's the other reason that I only played one of it.
Sure.
Because, like, it's just like this huge mana investment.
Yeah.
And you really only want to get it when you know that it's going to win you the game.
Right. I mean, if you were if someone asked you if you would play a card that costs 10 mana, where if you cast it, you'd exile 2 permanents, you'd probably say no.
No.
Right.
Exactly. And if that's all it did. So this card, it's interesting because there's so few of them, and there's no Kozileks in the deck. Like, not that Kozilek would have been a bad choice in some situations. It's just like,
I think it's just not what you're trying to do here.
Yeah, it's just a different deck than the old deck. And I think that a lot of people are trying to play that old deck.
Well, I think that's why I prefer this list over the older list, is this one's more aggressive. It brings more to the table. And with Bant Company and Blue-White Humans and regular Mono-White Humans being out and about, just the format's going to become much faster. It has to.
So let's talk about a few things. One of them is mana curve. When people were looking at my deck, I had somebody ask, hey, like, I used to play Grenade Rat, can I look at your list? Mm-hmm. And they go, 4 Sylvan Advocates, 4 Deathcap Cultivators, 2 Hangarback Walkers, 2 Rose. They said, do you know how many 2-drops you're playing? I said, yeah. It's important that you do those things.
Yeah, Sylvan Advocate is very, very important in stopping early attackers. It can deter a lot of your opponent's attacks.
Yeah, so the reason for this is, like, this format is slow but fast, is how I like to call it. Is what I say about it. It's like, it's not mono red fast, but it's not, but like, even the Bant Company deck, what happens is, at some point in the game, they just go, guy, kill you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like,
Yep.
that happened quickly. That escalated. That got out of hand.
Out of hand.
Yeah, and the thing is that in other formats, like it's guy, you're dead.
Right.
And in this format, it's guy, bigger guy, kill you.
Right.
And it's slower, but it's still fast. And so for that reason, like, you really want either things that interact like Roast, or you want things that get in their way like Advocate.
Absolutely. My very first experience with mono white humans, I was savaged turn 4 several times.
I think mono white humans is actually a bad matchup for this deck.
Do you?
Yeah, so mono white specifically is bad, but blue white and green white are good.
Okay. And I mean, I think once we get to the sideboard, there's a lot of things you've done here to shore that up. And
That's
I think
true.
it really rounds it out.
Yeah. But one of the interesting things about the mana curve is just how many 2-drops we're actually playing. And the thing is that you do mulligan a lot with this deck. So having a lot of 2-drops along with your Nissa's Pilgrimage, and, you know, early things like Oath of Nissa, the curve is lower than the old decks. And the reason for that is you're just trying to get a Chandra.
Right.
That's all you want to do.
I mean,
because in this format, Chandra is actually king, from what I noticed.
One mana less is significantly faster than World Breaker if you're having things like Deathcaps out and being able to cast Nissa's Pilgrimage.
That being said, we still do play Deathcaps so that we can turn on our Hedron Archives and our Explosive Vegetations. That way we can get to our Dragonlord Atarkas and World Breakers. It's not like we're ignoring that fact.
Right. But just having access to Chandra that early is so great.
Exactly.
So nice.
So, with that being said, what's our favorite interaction in this deck? And for me, it's the same one as before, right? It's just like World Breaker, Sanctum of Ugin.
Yeah, Dragonlord, or not Dragonlord. Yeah, World Breaker, Sanctum.
It's just this thing where, like,
I think
kill your land. It usually kills a mainland too,
right.
which is great.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh man, now I have to deal with this 5/7, but then there's another 5/7 coming. Or if he's real good, there's a 10/10 coming. And I think that's a problem for a lot of decks.
It definitely is. And I mean, just for me, I think I just like Dragonlord Atarka just by himself. Because there's games where you just get savaged by his ETB.
We recorded a video today where if I had hit my land drop on time, I would have 3-for-1 Matt with the Dragonlord Atarka.
Yeah,
and I was so mad that I didn't, because it was like...
I don't even feel that's uncommon with playing with and against that card.
So 3-for-1s are uncommon, right? Because they have to have 2 power guys and a 1 power guy. Or 1 toughness guy, sorry. But I mean, I obviously play Dragonlord Atarka out of Pro Tour, so like I love the card a lot. But, you know, I think that, like, there's just more going on in this deck than people realize. And,
yeah, there's definitely a lot of play to it.
So, matchups. So, right now, in our spreadsheet for our team testing, which Manny's not allowed to use, there's... this deck has a 75.76 win percentage in 33 matches.
That's very good.
I think it's the second most matches on the spreadsheet, if I'm not mistaken. But, you know, what does this correlate to? So, you're favored against the best deck in the format. You're actually favored against Bad Company, and that's important.
That's huge.
That's a huge reason to play the deck.
I believe going into tournaments around this date, and it's what's today, April 18th, 19th?
Today's the 19th.
The 19th, April 19th. I believe showing up to your local PPTQ, about close to 50% of the meta is going to be Bad Company.
A lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of it. I don't think it's in the wind at all that that's the best deck.
Yeah, so having a good matchup against that's real important. And that's where some of its win percentage comes from. But what is your best matchup? It's actually not Bad Company.
It's mid-range.
Yeah, it's these Sorin stupid decks.
By far, mid-range decks just cannot compete with the power level that you are on.
Yeah, which is good, too, because you don't actually have to build your deck to beat these decks.
No.
Like, in any way, it just does it on its own. It's naturally, Explosive Vegetation is just naturally good against the deck. And there's just not the way... What I wrote down is they can't really come back in any way when you when you're explosing...
Right, well, I mean, the very nature of a mid-range deck, you're playing the control game against aggressive decks, and you're playing the aggressive role against control decks. This is not quite a control deck, even though it is very similar to one.
So this is something that I talked to somebody about the other day. Did we talk about it on the podcast?
Maybe.
Where it's like, ramp decks are control decks.
Right.
That's really what they are. They are just a different type of control.
Right.
And so many people have them under combo or mid-range, and like the truth of the matter is what is this deck trying to do?
It's get large, manage you, and crush you.
Yeah, it's the same thing that controllers are doing. It's just in a different way.
Right.
And this deck, when it's vegetating explosively, those mid-range decks can't compete.
No, not at all. And I mean, just because, like you touched on, because it's not playing denial or permission doesn't mean that you're not the control player in that match.
Yeah, I think that like mid-range decks just aren't putting on enough pressure to you. So like when you do something like cast Explosive Vegetation or whatever, I mean that's the main one. Even Hedron Archive, it's like, oh man,
yeah,
what do I do?
Yeah,
he's gonna kill me. Like do something insane next turn.
Every time I see Hedron Archive or Explosive Vegetation, I start getting worried.
Yeah,
things are going well for you.
So with that being said, what's your worst matchup? So I don't know this, but I actually assume it's something like a Atarka red. You're not angled to beat that deck the way you are with the white decks.
And yeah, I would say probably something like that, or mono white humans, because mono white humans.
That's the other thing faster. The thing I put down here is I would assume that it's red aggressive decks, or even something like mono white go white humans. Mm-hmm. The blue white humans deck or the white blue humans deck is not bad once you're playing the 4 Chandras. It's actually I think that once you're playing those 4 Chandras and once you get to post board, it's actually you're heavily favored.
Yeah, they're playing things like Avacyn and Archangel of Tyas, and you can manage that easily with Dragonlord.
But if people are playing, Savannah Lions, double Savannah Lions, triple Savannah Lions, you're not beating that with a World Breaker.
Right.
You can beat that with a Dragonlord Atarka,
right.
Which is why I had 3 originally, is because some people were playing mono white humans, but I thought that blue white humans would be so much more popular that I didn't have that.
I think that's correct. I think that's a good call.
But that being said, if you were expecting a lot of mono white humans, I don't think that it would be incorrect just to go down those 2 Hangarback Walkers, up a Dragonlord Atarka, and up a Roast.
Sure.
So what makes it bad for you? So basically, in matchups where Explosive Vegetation becomes bad, I think your matchup becomes bad. It's pretty simple.
If you're not able to Explosive Vegetation comfortably, then how are you expected to play things like Dragonlord Atarka and World Breaker without pressure?
Exactly. It's not the same day and age when we had things like Inferno Titan to shore up our aggro matchups. They don't give us stuff like that anymore. Instead, we have things like Dragonlord Atarka, which has a cost to it. That being said, obviously, like Green-Red Devotion, it had a good matchup against things like those decks. Uh-huh. And this deck it's just not tuned to do it.
Sure.
So, right now, I think that's the worst matchup for it. With that being said, let's talk about the sideboard.
Let's do.
So, we have 1 Conduit of Ruin, 3 Jaddi Offshoot, 2 Tireless Tracker, 1 Void Winnower, 2 Clipped Wings, 3 Kozilek's Return, 2 Rending Volley, and 1 Roast.
I like it. I like the Kozilek's Return, the Clip Wings. I think they're very important in your bad matchups.
It's actually funny. I've never boarded in Clipped Wings one time.
Yeah, I suppose a 6/5 hexproof isn't going to bother you at all.
If I knew my opponent was playing Ojatais or things like that, I would do it.
Uh-huh.
But I had inklings against both my blue-white humans players that they were not playing Ojatai.
I see.
I think that if I know they're playing Ojatai, I know they're playing Archangel Avacyn, I know they're playing Archangel of the Tithes or whatever. Uh-huh. I think Clip Wings is great in those matchups, and it's important to have in your sideboard, but I've never boarded it in.
Gotcha.
That being said, 3 Kozilek's Return, 2 Rending Volley, 1 Roast, 3 Jaddi Offshoot, these come in a lot of matchups. Mm-hmm. And the Conduit of Ruin, Void Winnower obviously comes in the mirror, and then Conduit of Ruin also just comes in against basically every mid-range deck.
Sure.
It's important. You get to... First of all, it makes things like World Breaker cheaper. It makes Ulamog cheaper. And then also it puts those threats back on top of your deck so that next turn, if they don't kill this 5/5, they're facing down a 5/7 that kills something of theirs.
Yeah, and that's a pretty big deal, allowing you to cast World Breaker for 5 and still have mana up for something like
Roast. A Roast in that matchup, exactly.
That is phenomenal. That's such a huge swing in tempo.
Yeah. Kozilek's Return, can't tell you how many times I have flashed this thing back. People forget that it does that.
Do they?
They do.
Oh, man, that's bad beats for them.
Yeah, they get got. The things that you're typically boarding out when you're boarding in that Kozilek's Return, Rending Volley, Roast, Jaddi Offshoot package is actually just all of your guys. So in those matchups where you have these Deathcap Cultivators, Hangarback Walker, Sylvan Advocate, you actually just board them out.
I could absolutely see that.
Yeah. So one of the things is that the reason that you poured them out is not what people think. It's actually not because of Declaration of Stone. It's actually because of specifically the Reflector Mage. So against Reflector Mage, you board out your guys and board into this stuff. It was actually funny. I was in the finals, and I left up one red, and then Michael Hinderrecker was like, "Oh, you're not going to have Rending Volley." And I was like, "You definitely boarded in Rending Volley against your Band Company deck." He goes, "Why?" I was like,
"It seems phenomenal. It seems
it kills Jace, it kills Reflector Mage, it kills Bounding Crassus. Bounding Crassus is actually one of their best cards against you.
It's very good. Yeah, being able to tap down and get through is pretty good.
Yeah, and it lives through return. And also, so does Reflector Mage. Also, some of those decks play Avacyn, so
right.
So it kills a lot of things.
Yeah. Very, very good card.
So I do board in that card against Bad Company.
Mm-hmm.
Overall, what do you think of this deck? Why should people try this deck out?
They should try it if they're expecting Bad Company, and if they're wanting to play Chandra and just really run away games with her.
The thing is that I think that people should play this deck because people think it's bad now, and it's just not.
It's not. No,
people just haven't figured out how to build it.
Yeah, it just needed a facelift.
Yeah, and I spent 2 days tuning it, and by 2 days, I don't mean 2 days of haha after work. I tested it. It was
right.
it was 33 full matches with the deck.
Right, and I mean going from the last standard format. Any deck you port over without any changes is not going to be good. That's could be said of every single deck. I think you just need to care for it, take care of it, update it, and play it in the right environments. And I think if you're expecting things like Blue-White Humans Band Company, which are a huge percentage of the format right now, I think you will do very, very well with this deck.
Yeah, I was a huge fan. I went 2-0 against Blue-White Humans, 1-1 against Band Company, 2-1 against Black-White Midrange.
Very good.
So the only three decks...
Mid-range muncher. Nom, nom, nom.
Yeah, so the only reason that I lost to the... I actually won every match with this deck that I didn't mulligan to 5. An important note with this deck, it does mulligan a lot. You're going to mulligan to 6 quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But you gain so much back with Explosive Vegetation and Pilgrimage. Pilgrimage takes you back from mulligan.
Right.
And that's important to know.
Yeah, it does absolutely cast.
Yeah, it's green divination. So thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget to check out the podcast at constructivecriticism.com, youtube.com, mtgcast.com. Don't forget that you can also check it out on YouTube every week, along with testing videos, deck techs, and the occasional Wednesday Night Warrior.
We also have a Patreon. So if you enjoy the content, you want it to keep coming, help us out.
Patreon.com/ccmtg. Go there. It starts at $1. Anything that you're willing to donate, we really appreciate it, and it makes it a lot easier to make this kind of content and more worth it for us.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.